Nofap has a massive problem. You want to know what that problem is? As well-meaning as these Nofap YouTubers are, and as much as they actually want to help you quit this disgusting habit of watching porn and masturbating, or some of them just want to make money, to be honest, the problem with these videos is the fact that they're not detailed enough. They don't actually go into the depths. They don't actually go into the depths of why you're addicted to porn. They don't go into the nitty-gritty. They don't actually go into much further detail of why you keep finding yourself doing this disgusting habit. You think that it only has something to do with your lust. That's the angle that these Nofap videos approach it. They just think that, oh yeah, you're just lustful, you're just horny, so yeah, stop being horny, stop being lustful, kill your desires, kill your lust, desexualize your brain, and yeah, there you go. Then you stop watching porn. And another one I've heard is, oh yeah, you released, instead of releasing your sexual desires through actual women, you just release it through porn, and there you go. And they don't actually go into further detail. It's not really detailed enough. That is the problem with these Nofap videos. There's so many reasons, there's so many elements as to why you keep going back to this disgusting habit. There's so many reasons. We think it's a 2-dimensional problem. We think it's like a 2D image, like a 2D plane, when it's actually a 3-dimensional problem. I'm going to quickly go over them. And just a quick one, I actually go into much further detail about this, about the different reasons to why you're addicted to porn. And by knowing these reasons, you'll actually be able to quit this disgusting habit. By knowing all of these, you can actually kill the porn and masturbation habit. You're spiritually addicted to porn. There's a spiritual component to you being addicted to porn. There's actually three levels of your soul. There's actually 3 versions of you, of the self, of the soul. Okay, the nafs. It's not really the soul, but it's the nafs. It's the inner self. Your inner self. There's 3 elements of it. There's the worst. There is the worst element of the soul. This is just the part of you that just wants to seek pleasure. That just wants to seek pleasure. That just wants to fulfill its desires through any means necessary. There's a second version. There's the second version of yourself. There's the version of you that most Muslims are actually in this category. Sometimes you sin and then you repent and then you ask Allah for forgiveness and then you feel guilt and then you feel shame. You're doing good for a bit and then you go back to sinning. You go back to sinning for a while, multiple times, and then after that you stop sinning and then you ask Allah for forgiveness and then you're just in this vicious cycle. That's the second element. And then the third element is the version of you that just wants to do good. He just wants to be peaceful. He just wants to be polite. Every single human being has these versions of themselves. What porn targets is the first version I mentioned. The version of you, the evil commanding self, the version of you that just wants to do evil, that just wants to do bad, that just wants to just fulfill its desires through any means necessary. And that is what Shaitan targets when he whispers to you. He whispers to that side of you. That is why, have you ever found yourself that when you masturbate, that when you fall into masturbation, it just kind of happens. Sometimes it just kind of happens, and then some evil version of you just takes over. It just consumes you, and then you're just in this sort of haze, and you're just masturbating and salivating, and just releasing all these chemicals in your brain. And then after you're done, you actually think to yourself, wait, what the heck did I do? Was that actually me? Was that actually me that did it? That can't have been me. Yes, it actually was you. It was just the version of you that you have been suppressing for too long. It's just the version of you that you were hiding from the world. The way to actually solve this is to actually acknowledge that you have this side of you. You actually have this dark side to you, and then you need to find healthier ways of releasing this dark side of you. Not through watching porn and masturbation. Human beings, actually, we humans, we have a weird conception about the dark side, that we should just keep it suppressed. But even other people have spoken about this, like Hamza Ahmed and so on. He talks about how the people who suppress their dark side the most, they're actually the ones who you need to watch out for. Those ones who actually have knowledge about their dark side, who actually accept their dark side. They actually say, okay, yeah, there is a dark side to me. I just need to keep it under wraps. I just need to keep it under control. Those ones who keep their dark side under control and release it in more healthier ways. They're not the ones who you should be watching out for. The ones you should be watching out for are those who completely deny it. Those who are in complete denial of this side to them. The solution is to keep this side to you under wraps and to actually use this side of you for good. Use this side of you for power. You need to use this dark side of you to accomplish something great. And this is going to be a rather silly analogy, but think of things like, I'm actually embarrassed to say this, but actually no, I won't mention. I was going to mention Dragon Ball Z, but no, it's a show. Let me not mention it. Let me give examples of real life people. Look at people like Jack Spade, for example. He used to get bullied as a kid, right? He used to get bullied. He used to get tormented, and you just really went through it as a kid. And he used that pain, he used that dark side, he used his hatred for all those bullies to actually become the guy who is meant to be. A fitness coach who has helped thousands of people become more in shape. Even people like Oprah Winfrey, right? She used to hate the fact that she would go through racism. In order to get into the position that she'd had to face a lot of racism, and she used that irritation, that anger, that sadness, that dark side to her, that irritation. She used that to actually get to where she is right now. That irritation, that hatred she used to feel for people being racist to her, for people putting her down due to her race, due to where she's from. She used that anger to actually accomplish something of significance. You need to do the same thing with this dark side. You have to acknowledge this dark side, and then you keep it under wraps. You make sure that it doesn't take you over to do haram. When you recognize this dark side taking over, use it for something beneficial. Use it for something good. The other components to your masturbation addiction is biological. This is the one I've probably mentioned the most in previous videos, to be honest. Okay, you have this release for dopamine. You want to release dopamine, and the fact that you've conditioned yourself, the fact that you've conditioned your brain on a biological level, your brain thinks that porn, watching porn and masturbating are the same thing as having sex. On a biological level, you have now convinced yourself that watching porn and masturbating to it are the exact same as sex. And you actually want to have sex. As human beings, you actually want to release your sexual desires, but on a biological level, to pass on your genes, to pass on your legacy, and to continue the human species. That is what you actually want to do biologically. And you've convinced your brain into thinking that you can do that through watching porn. That might seem crazy to you. On a conscious level, you know that this porn I'm watching is not actually real. It's not actually there. But on a biological level, your brain doesn't know the difference between what it sees on a screen and reality. Your brain doesn't really know the difference. On a biological level, your brain sees the same thing. Your brain sees what it sees on a screen and the 3D image. Your brain sees them as the same. Your brain sees them as the same. The human brain was not evolved to recognize screen. The brain just sees an image and recognizes it as real. That's why even when you're watching a scary movie, your brain literally reacts as if you're in that movie. Think about that. Your brain actually reacts as if you're in that scary movie. When you see all these unnatural looking monsters, these fictitious monsters just coming to chase you. Yeah, these fictitious monsters just jump scaring you. Your brain actually thinks that these monsters are there with you. That is the biology of human beings. And through watching porn over and over and over again, you've conditioned yourself to thinking that this is the way to release your sexual desires. You think that this is how you release your sexual desires, even though after you release those you release that lust in a haram way, this unfulfilling, improper way, you just feel bad about yourself. You just feel so terrible about yourself. The next component to why you're so addicted to porn, one of the other reasons why you're so addicted to porn is a psychological one. And you're actually going to want to sit down and listen to this one. This is actually extremely important. Humans, by nature, they crave comfort. They crave... People foolishly, I've heard some people say that sex is not a need, it's just a want. In my college, people used to, when Abraham Maslow was saying all the needs of a human being, and he mentioned sex as one of them, the college classmates of mine were saying, oh no, sex is not a real need. You don't actually need to have sex. You don't need to release your sexual desires. It's not actually a real need, even though they were probably going home and masturbating, because they're not releasing their sexual needs in a halal way. And some of them were even committing zina. So there you go. Sex is actually a need. Psychologically, you actually crave comfort. Psychologically, you actually want to release those sexual desires. You actually want to release these feel-good hormones. You actually want to release the stress and the tension that you have. And you can release all that stress and tension when you're intimate with your spouse. When you're intimate with your spouse, everything just relaxes. Everything just sort of calms down. After that dopamine, while that dopamine is kicking in, when you're seeking your partner, when you're just lustful and horny for your partner, when you've gone through a stressful day that would have made you that would have just made you want to quit, that would have just made you want to give up, and then you go to your wife, you're comfortable with your wife. Your wife sort of calms you down. Your wife sort of is sort of pleasant to you, if she's a good wife. She's sort of pleasant to you. She looks pleasing to you. She's very feminine, and then you go and you just ravage each other. You're intimate with each other, and then it's just peace and comfort after that. The psychological reason, and you're not, and you actually really crave that, and you're not actually getting that because you think that the real way to get it is through porn and masturbation. You thought that it was through porn and masturbation, but it actually wasn't. Porn and masturbation does none of that for you. It does not bring you any peace. It does not bring you any comfort. Allah himself even says in the Quran that one of his signs is that he created partners in pairs. Right? I'm butchering it, but yeah, he says that he created partners so that they can seek respite in each other, so that they can seek that comfort, that peace within each other. This is a way you cure your mental health. This is a way of actually curing your mental health, by actually being intimate with your partner. Your brain does not do things for no reason. Your brain is not watching porn just for no reason. On a psychological level, you actually think that through porn you can cure yourself psychologically. You actually think that by watching porn you can rid yourself of pain. But as a result of watching porn, you just receive more pain. There's only more pain. In between that, there is the pleasure, the temporary pleasure, that is the feeling of you know what I mean, stroking your private part and it feeling nice, and then you ejaculating. That's the temporary pleasure. But then after that is just straight back to depression, straight back to feeling terrible, straight back to feeling even worse than you did before you started engaging in masturbating and watching porn. You don't actually realize psychologically. You don't actually. The truth of the matter is, porn does not actually cure yourself of your problem, and it actually stops you from reflecting upon yourself. It actually stops you from realizing that you actually watch porn to seek comfort from anxiety, from feeling terrible about yourself, from depression. Instead of actually curing these problems, these anxieties, this depression, you just go and watch porn because at least I can release dopamine, at least I can feel good by ejaculating and stroking myself off and seeing these sexually stimulating images. The solution is actually, for psychological, the solution is to call upon Allah for help, to ask Allah to help you with these feelings that you're having, with these depressing feelings that you're having. You need to be constantly relying on Allah. You need to be making dua to Allah. You need to ask Allah to help you to go through whatever it is that you're going through. Assalamu alaikum. I hope that video was beneficial. Take care.